Well, hello, everybody. How are you today? It's great to be here with you. Thanks for coming by. I want to shout out to y'all, Gina and Janet and Ron, and hi, Butterfly Kisses Sue, and Deb H, Purple Elephant, Janet, Dozen Cats. Wow, Margaret. Let's see, who else? Don't want to miss anybody. Oh, Cardomancy. Very good. All right. Well, Tracy just got her stuff downloaded, so I'm going to watch to see that she's sitting in her chair before I open up her. All right. There we go.
Hi. Sorry, just the last minute.
That's okay. You did it. You did it, girl.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm happy that you could get in. I've had people not be able to get in at all on a Mac. So good.
Yeah, so I had to download Chrome and then that worked. So.
Oh, okay. I get you. Yeah, that's true because Mac doesn't have that. That's very true. Well, welcome, Tracy. I'm glad you're here. And you reached out to me because you saw some listings on the Tarot Love community, correct?
I heard your one video where you asked, open it up to anybody. Yeah. And I thought, all right.
Good. I'm happy that you did. Yeah. No, anybody reaching out and wanting to be on is A-okay with me. So so I thank you for doing that.
Oh,
absolutely.
You're welcome. Yeah,
sure. So let's start a little bit, I guess, to get to know you. You use Tracy Godkin on as your avatar, basically. You don't have another name.
I went back and forth, and then I thought, you know what? I don't want to write anything to hide behind. And so I decided I'm just going to use my name.
Mm-hmm. Good for you. Good for you. Some people just like having an avatar, I suppose, or having, but that's an admirable trait. Thank you so much. So what brought you to YouTube besides, what brought you to YouTube post-Trump, let's say, or post?
Yeah, it was post-Trump. No, it wasn't post-Trump because it was probably 2017 or 2018 that
well, he was in. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was in. So it wasn't because of him that I sought solace in the art community when my ex-husband was joining, like, hey, I found these really cool videos on abstract landscaping. And so he was looking at that and painting, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the one with all the art supplies. I'm not doing anything. I need to get going. And so I got on YouTube for that reason, to find an outlet and a means to tap into my creativity. And that's how it all began.
Oh, yeah. My girlfriend did that. She said, you can learn anything on YouTube. And I said, I knew I could learn or teach writing and things like that because people go here to learn how to format and all that. But when she told me her husband walks around with a phone, because he's going to fix an engine or something, it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So it's
there's a woman that I saw, she built a house learning.
Oh my goodness. Really?
YouTube videos. Oh,
that's amazing.
That I don't know. I don't have that.
No, I don't have that either.
I shouldn't say I don't have that. I do. I just choose not to.
Choose not to do that. Yeah, sure. I understand. Yeah, no, I would go and listen because I love to listen to a lot of music, and
I do that
on Amazon. But you get the sort of the video with it, and it's kind of fun, And that's wonderful. So when did it turn into? Went from the art, let's say, into maybe more spiritual or more concern for, him and COVID and other things?
I have always had a interest in spirit beyond a religious format. at the age of 4, I do remember saying to my mom, or 5 or 6, like, I can see auras, and I don't know that I knew what
you
that
knew the word even. Yeah.
I had a near-death experience when I was 4. And so after that is when I could see auras. I don't anymore. I only have I have glimpses of intuition and glimpses of like a clairaudient voice. And so I haven't tapped into that. And so as I was looking at art videos, and then as I was doing my art, I would watch YouTube videos. I found like someone that did a channeling of angels, and I thought, okay, that's
cool. Yeah.
And I had just bounced around for the last few years and have come across a few tarot readers. Tarot, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Either way is fine with me.
So that read on 45. Or I call him Donnie from maintenance because off of Leanie's. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I can't remember. Why did I just pronounce her name wrong? Lena's.
Oh, Lena from Down Under. Yeah.
Right. Her Scotty from maintenance or Scotty from marketing. I'm
from marketing.
We should just call him Donnie from maintenance, who just screws everything up. Just can't clean up a mess to save his life.
Right. Maybe he should be the janitor at a grocery store where they have to have cleanup on aisle 3 or something, you know.
Clean up in the toilets.
Yeah, really. Absolutely. Yeah.
But anyway, so just kind of bounced around, just finding, readers, and then like, I'm not really resonating with you. I just totally am not getting your message. I was all intuitive of like, I don't think you're on the side that I want to be on. And so through the years, it has led me to now talking to you.
That's really great. And I'm so happy you're in our community. I mean, I just was reading something today, and I heard it on television. Apparently, this is crazy, and it's kind of off topic, but it isn't. Apparently, some of the QAnon people went to Dallas to meet John F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy Jr., who were coming there to announce Trump's presidency, and JFK Jr. was going to be the VP. And they were so disappointed because they didn't come. So
that was so interesting, because that was like one of the first videos I saw, as this woman channeling JFK. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she's talking about Donnie, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. Yeah. Those two would not be in any way communicating if that man, if JFK were here on Earth. I just don't. Right.
No, I know. Intuitively, these people really. But one of the reasons that they give for their craziness, actually, is that they don't have a community because they're all separate. They're all in their homes through COVID or whatever, and all these people are seeking community. And so they'll take any kind of community that they can get, whether it be, the QAnon community or parents railing at the board meetings or whatever it is, just to have that community and to feel like they're part of one. Whereas we already found our community here, and it's not for the most part. I don't see that there's a lot of negativity. Yes, there are people that may not resonate with us out there, or, we just don't choose.
I think that's what it really is, because for me, it's just until recently, like within the last few weeks, where I found Susan Lynn and Jen, and I'm like, oh my God, they're live. Okay. And then I thought, if you want to let me just kind of back up to, because I know one of the questions is, how has this community supported you, or I can't remember the question, but anyway, and or how am I coping, or
right.
And it's been a very difficult, and I mean personally, 2018. I'm like, oh, thank God, 2018 is over with. Yay, 2019!
I understand. We've all had those years, but then 2020 came in.
No, 2019 was worse.
Really?
It is.
Oh, it was.
It was horrible.
Okay.
My father passed away a week later. After that, I get notified that I'm being laid off. In June, my father-in-law passed away. And on that ensued a court battle with my ex-husband, and his sister. And then in the fall, my ex-husband, has asked me for a divorce. So
so that was a really stinky year.
A really horrible stinky year is right. And so I'm like, yay, 2020. Not realizing, I have to go through a COVID, or I have to go through a divorce alone.
Right, basically.
Right. No physical contact with any friends or family to support. And and for me, I'm a very sensitive person. And so I was so emotional through that process.
Well, you had every right.
And work was not easy. I'm new, fairly new to the company, and feel completely out of my league. I'm feeling better now about it. But
good.
During 2020, I was crying a lot. And I made some very, I'll say, I don't want to say dumb, I don't want to label it that way, but I'll say very educational, gifted experiences that I'm like, I don't really why you gave it to me, why I had experienced it. I could have done without, but okay, I'll try to find the gift.
Some people call it another FGO, or I'm sorry, FGE, another effing growth experience. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's like the tower coming down, everything crumbling at this, you did year after year. So that now, I guess in 2021, hopefully it got a little better and you're starting to rebuild that building.
I am rebuilding, yes, in many different ways, mentally, physically, spiritually, in all those areas. Yes. And I think I have landed, and then it kind of gets back to seeing Jen and Susan Lynn go live, where I thought, if I want to not feel alone, I need to participate somehow. And I just thought, this is kind of relatively benign. So I'll just, make some comments and try to engage. And it has been a lot of fun that I have found. And so, the easier the more that I do it, the easier I get comfortable with.
Sure. And then people recognize you and they're, hello, how are you? And how have you been? Or there is a community within a community, really, with the chat. When I'm not doing a show, and if I have time, I try to go and watch other people's shows and also work in the chat, because I think they need the support, and the people in the chat need to know that I'm available to talk to them as well in a different venue, So that's really good. Yeah. Wonderful. So, so what you're saying, I guess, at this point is that you have been able to keep your start your resiliency, and you're getting some sustenance now from the community, whereas 2018, 19, 20. Is there hope for 22?
Well, it's interesting, because as I was after my husband announced, right, we kind of separated in the house. We were very I can't say that word, friendly.
Okay.
Friendly with each other.
Amiable.
Yeah, we're amiable. And part of me was thinking, okay, how do I find joy again after this? How do I find love again? And I just thought about it. And there's something I came across many years ago, and it's, if you do not go within, you go without. And
that's beautiful. You're right. Yeah.
I remember just lying, it was like a Saturday or Sunday morning or something, and just lying in bed. I'm like, if I don't go within, I go without. So if I don't go within to find the joy, I go without, or the happiness or the love. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start with joy, because I just feel like if I can fill myself with joy, then I can get through this divorce. Sure. So I just meditated and found a little seed. I feel like we have all been planted with the seeds of knowledge and the seeds of joy, seeds of love, whatever seed it is that you are needing, it's there within you. Mm-hmm. And so I just focused and nurtured it to grow that seed within me, so I could feel it in my body. And then I expanded it outside of me, into my house, to my neighborhood, etc., out into the world, right? I just kept on doing it.
Kept bringing it bigger.
Yeah. And every morning I just do that. So I was recently reminded, I don't know, I've just been going through some emotional stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, you don't have joy again. Like you haven't been nurturing the joy in your life. And that meditation and practice of taking these seeds and expanding it within me, and then out of me, and then beyond. Yeah.
That's great.
So that is one of the resilience tools that I know I have. Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to find, okay, how can I expand the physicalness of those skills? Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, right now it is, because so much of it, we're still sort of on lockdown, and we don't know what the winter brings.
Right.
The fact that you understand that, it's very interesting, because a lot of people know that I'm a professor, but I mostly like to teach literature. And there's a story called Candide. And in it, the man says, we must nurture our own garden. And you get the seed idea there. And I said, you just can't plant a seed. You've got to water it. The sun has to come down on it. You've got to get the weeds out. And you can't pull it. It can't come up too fast, whatever is growing. And the whole idea of a garden being a metaphor for one's life, really. And if you can look at it that way, then you can also say to yourself, wow, it does take time. And I've got I've got the seed there, and maybe it's even popping up now, but it's also winter, and what happens in winter with seeds, and they go to sleep a while. So, but you're on the right path here, Tracy. You really are.
I do. And I intuitively, I felt that I've been guided. I think the key word that has been used for 2019, 2020, 21 is resonate, right? What resonates with you?
What resonates for you?
And that's kind of how I have led away from, I don't know. I ask, is this true? Is what this person's saying true?
Right. Discernment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then I'm just like, I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah, I understand. And there are things that won't.
Right.
And you're open to listening. You're open and you're just making your own decision about it, which is what we're all supposed to do.
And for me, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I have a mother who's very, like, I have 5 brothers and sisters. So if we were fighting with one another, we kid her about this. Just love your brother and sister, don't.
Easier said than done, Mom.
and I thought, is this message coming from love? Is it a love base, right? Because
Right.
if you feel fear, then that's not love, because they're opposites, right?
Correct.
So I'm like, is this love? Do I feel love from this person? Is this a loving message? Is this like, you can go back, and if the little stuff that I do know about Jesus is that he was a man of love, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I'm like,
Yep.
these messages just don't seem to resonate.
It's like an angry God. I don't see that.
So I'm just like, that's not what I was raised with. And so I feel very blessed to have been raised with a mother who led and taught love by example, and just really reinforced it with my brothers and sisters. So that's kind of where I developed that intuitive message.
The other thing that when we're trying to discern and see if we resonate, is we need to also discern what is this person's intention, or what is when we're doing something, what is our intention? Is it to create anger? Is it to create upset? Is it to be helpful, healing, this and that? And if it isn't matching, if the intention doesn't feel right, because there are manipulative people. We know one of them was the president. So, then we just know that this isn't what works for me or not, so I love that. I love that you have, what a beautiful philosophy that you have. And sounds like your mother was very instrumental in bringing that to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Is she still around?
Yes, my mother's still
So
around.
does she still say that when you get together with your brothers and sisters? Like,
oh yeah.
Now don't start an argument now.
No, it's not a don't. It's just she's always, like, growing up as a small child. All right, it's bedtime. I don't want to go to bed. Well, you're going to go to bed, and you have a choice. I can carry you up to bed, or you can walk up to bed, but you're going to go to bed.
Right.
I don't want to go to bed. Well,
I'd be afraid to say that.
The choice.
I'd be afraid to give that other choice, because, it sounds like there are people that would take you up on it. I'm 200 pounds and you're going to carry me up the stairs. No, I know.
I always chose that. Carry me.
Carry me. Yeah. I don't know. And with 5 brothers and sisters, that extra time of attention would be in that, sort of in that idea too.
Right.
Yeah, carry me, because, I need your attention. So yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. So are you, you have intuition. Have you also used cards or used any kind? Have you been interested in any of that? Are you looking to develop more of your intuition or psychic ability or anything?
I have, but part of my love is art.
Okay.
And creating that. And what I have found through my artwork is I do mixed media. And for those that aren't familiar with what mixed media is, it's really just playing with a different substrate. So I'll take maybe a box from crackers, and I'll use that as my canvas. So I can use the canvas itself, or paper as my base. And then something that I learned or saw by watching a YouTube video is this artist took book pages, and she made another layer. And she said for her, that was just a meditative process to clear her mind before she started on her project. And so I've kind of been doing that, and just another layer. So it's, my mixed media is this layered layer, or crayons or pencils or paint or modeling paste to give texture.
That's wonderful.
So through that, I just felt that's my meditation
and your joy.
And back when I first got onto YouTube, I had mentioned that there's someone that I saw that channeled. And she started a mediumship class that I took, and I met some wonderful people through there, and then experienced reading the tarot cards. But then what I did is I said, would you want me to create a piece of art for you? And it's through that then I developed, and I did 5 of them, but I haven't done anything like this before, where I just thought about that person. It's kind of goes off of what I learned of growing up. For Christmas, my mother, we got a present for each of our siblings. And I remember her making this grid, and okay, I'm going to get, so-and-so this, and, she had a whole grid. And anyway, so part of me is like the giving of a gift, and my gift of art, and also a message. And so just thinking about them and tapping into their energy,
yes,
and just really like, okay, what message am I to give to them? And so I did this piece of art, and what kind of encapsulates kind of that core message. I think one was, I just saw a lighthouse. There's something with a lighthouse, like your beam of light for your family and friends or something. So that's what I created, and then wrote out the personal message to them.
Wonderful.
So, many of them are like, oh, wow, that was really good. The message, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not channeled, but it's like channeling the message, because you see, you saw the lighthouse, you saw the beam, and how you wanted to position that. You would probably get along really well with Thayer Hutchinson. She is a visual artist, and she lives in New Mexico. She just lost her dog, ran away, and we haven't been able to find it. So she's kind of right now in a bad state. But she will, if let's say I was trying to give her a reading, a medium reading or a psychic reading, she would sit and paint, or she would paint while she's giving me a reading. And then she mailed it to me. It was wonderful. She does that. So yours is more mixed media, I realize.
Yeah.
Hers is more paints, paints and but it's like this creativity is just busting out, and God, it's fabulous. I'm really, it's really nice to hear that you did that, because that's an energy exchange too, Tracy.
Yes.
You went to this class, and now you probably paid something for it, but still you gave part of your energy back to the work that was given. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I think that's and to like, I think I don't know what I was watching with you, but for the feedback is so to validate, like,
validation.
Okay, I'm on the right path.
Right.
I'm not, crazy. Like
I know. Yeah. Do I hear voices, or is that me? Or,
and that's really scary when you like I don't hear like some other people. I've only heard it twice in my life. And one was I was at a grocery store, and I was feeling really sick, and I was shopping with a brother who I lived with at the time, and he was off shopping for his food, and I'm like, I need to get home. And I'm like, Phil, please, I don't know where you are. I looked for him, and just feeling more ill by the time.
Sure. Yeah, that's scary.
It's very scary. I'm like, Tracy. And I'm like, I whipped my head around to see if he was behind me, because that's where the voice kind of seemed
from.
Like centered in my head. Like, I don't know, it's like if you were to slice through each way, it's like in the center coming through. And then the second time, strangely enough, was when I met my husband, or second date. The voice said, he's the one, you will be married within, 9 months. And that
happened to my mother too. My mother heard that too when she got married.
Oh, yes. Really?
She was walking down the street. My father was walking toward her, and he was older than her. He was in a higher grade, but she knew of him. But when she looked at his eye, she said, I'm going to marry that man. She knew it right then and there, and she did. Yeah.
It wasn't annoying. It was the voice. The voice was saying,
yeah.
he's the one. And I'm like,
Right.
what? Like, what are you?
So you have clear audience, but you probably don't tap into it all the time because, well, we have to live in the real world. And if you have a regular job and you're talking to the dead or you know, your spirit guides or something, you know.
Well, the message that I'm hearing from, I think you might have said it, or I know Diane, I don't know what her channel is. It was and like she's like, you know, she gets up at 4 and meditates every day. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. But the more that I'm hearing, like, if you really want to tap into, this is really what you need to do.
It's the time of the day. Yeah,
like,
it is.
Man, all right. Oh,
I know. I was always a night owl, and I would sleep till 11 or 12 in the morning when, you know, when I was younger, and even on Saturdays. But now I get up pretty much at, well, sometimes earlier, but usually around 5:30. And that's really early for me. But it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because of my age. I just know I need to grab life while I can, you know. And yeah, if I'm awake, why hang out and sleep the whole time? I'm going to sleep when I'm dead, you know, so it's not a big deal, you know.
Well, but, something where it's a reframe of your mind, right? Because, this bed is so amazing.
I know. Oh, especially on
moving it to reframe it to, not that this bed is uncomfortable. No, you move it to, wow, there was another thing, I can't remember where I heard it, but they're like, I get to do this. Right. I get to do that instead of like, oh, I have to. No, you
right.
Get to.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I get to go to work today. You know, I get to take the dogs out, you know. Yeah, it really is. And it takes a lot of work because we're so conditioned to complain about, oh, I got to take the dog. I got to go to work, you know. And that's just a societal thing, don't you think?
I do. It was interesting that because I was thinking about this at the grocery store, and I just heard a parent say to their child, "Don't do that. Get away from that." And I'm like, wow, as a society, we are so taught and pass that message down of don't do that, don't do that. And so, and for me, I remember my father saying that to me. I'm like, oh gosh, no wonder I'm so reserved, you know, as one of the reasons of why I'm so reserved, because hearing like, don't do that, you know, you're not going to earn whatever. You know.
God. My mother told me that if you pick your nose, that you will, the dirt in your fingernails will go into your brain and kill you. I mean, these are the things I was told. And, just stuff that was
really try to reframe my thinking. There's a wonderful book called The Power of Words by Yvonne Oswald.
Okay.
And you really look at how you talk to yourself, how do you talk to another person. And so I'm just so intrigued by the words we choose, or the words we choose, you know, like, don't forget to subscribe, you know, like it's so ingrained in us.
It is.
You know, we don't see the remember to subscribe, you know, the things like that. And for me, and the reason that I bring this up is how I'm working with a personal coach to work through, we'll call them saboteurs.
Yes.
That negative
saboteur. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And build my sage. And that's the realization that I have been working on for 2021 is to quiet, they'll never go away, but quiet those saboteur voices and just say, you're such a liar, you know, when have you ever?
It is. And Susan says it, and I agree. And so many other people have said the same thing. It's getting and looking in the mirror, because you don't. And even last night when I interviewed Kelly, she said, you know, I think it was Kelly that said it. When you look in the mirror, you don't lie to yourself. You know, you usually tell yourself the truth. But we do have mirror work to do. We do have shadow work to do, and nobody wants to do it because it's dirty stuff. It's like 2020 coming crashing down, and all the bad things that, you know, that we could dwell on. That's why this series was so important, to bring out how we survived, how we were resilient, you know, and what did we do to make our resiliency? And so many people, so many of the people I've talked to, a lot of them introverts, but a lot of people either opening a channel or like Butterfly Kisses. She is doing Reiki, and she has a channel, but she doesn't have videos right now anyway. But I would love to see you do that with art. You know, today we're going to work with mixed media and or, you know, put it on your thing and say on your board and say, everybody needs to get, you know, some crayons, some this, some that. And, you know, we'll just sit and play for a while. That would be wonderful.
That would be really fun. Yeah. I just have to say it's something that I don't know where I heard this too. I love it. You know, don't point, because you have 3 fingers pointing back at you. So whatever you say, make sure that it's the truth, because
absolutely
you're going to be the most guilty one of all if you.
Correct. Yes. And it's really, it's hard sometimes also for us to let go of retribution when we're angry about something.
Yes.
But when we do, when we're really able to do it, karma bus comes ticking along, you know, and eventually things show up. Let's put it that way.
That's kind of how I got through 45. You know, with Donnie saying all his spiel and stuff. And I did get all riled up because I remember not a very good man he was prior to the presidency.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And for me, kind of in my 2019 year, I'm like, I just can't focus on you. And you are a tornado that is not near me. So I'm just going to observe you, but I don't need to get into your whirlwind. Yep. And so I practiced becoming an observer of what was going on. And that's kind of what saved me, is that that knowing is that you have a choice whether to engage or disengage and be an observer. I mean, because it's going to be there. It's in the world. It's in the news. It's in, you bring up YouTube. There's something there.
There is.
And you, and so you're just like, okay, I'm just going to be an observer today.
Right.
On this.
I choose not to get involved in that personally. It doesn't affect. Yeah. I know a lot of people will say, and I don't mean what you've said, but there are people that I've talked to in the past. And I would say, what do you think about this? Or something that I saw. And they'd say, well, I never watch the news. I don't like politics. I don't like any of that. And I said, well, I don't either. But I don't want to find out something later. You know, I want to know, not that I want to be obsessed with it either, but you know, I just think it's important for me to touch base with. Yeah, there's definitely
some newsletters that I subscribe to. I'm like, okay, what's in the news? What's happening around the world? Or in America today. Right, exactly. It's I don't need to engage. I'll engage when it's necessary.
And when it's necessary. It's like you can't fight every battle, so you choose your battles. Yeah. So Sin McNann says that you can show your art on the Tarot Love community. And I bet if you contacted Renee, she would allow you to do one of those classes or something like, I don't know, you could work something out just to see if you liked it. Yeah. See if you like it, see what happens. And, you know, it's a learning experience.
Yeah. Great.
I would love to come if it was a day that I could, you know, get away from my teaching and all that stuff. I used to spend hours coloring in adult coloring books, and it had to have all the gel pens. I wouldn't use crayons. It had to be gel pens. And I spend a fortune in gel pens because they run out very quickly. So I know that zen that you get when you're in the middle of it, even though I'm not making art, I'm just coloring it.
And I think that is good, you know, for people that think, I could never meditate. Well, there's different ways you can meditate.
There are.
And I recently just bought a little, it's about like this size, of paint by numbers, you know.
There you go.
It's oh gosh, who is it? I can't remember. It's either a Monet or a Renoir. I think it's a Monet.
Okay. Wow.
It's one of his irises, I think. Anyway, so I did that, and it was very calming,
Right.
and so it's really, I don't know, maybe it's just having a discussion on another time or in that channel, in that community, of like ways to meditate outside.
Right. That aren't making you be quiet. Yeah.
Right. And because I think to just jump in and silence ourselves takes time, and maybe it doesn't that doesn't resonate with you, but maybe there's another way,
right. Another
something
tip.
that can help you quiet your mind so that you can hear the messages. Yeah.
What I like to do is I can't have it quiet because I can hear the dog snore and I can hear all kinds of other things. So I will put YouTube on in my bedroom, and I will, lay on my bed, and I will do a guided meditation, or I will do just go into listening to some beautiful music or whatever. And I find that works just as well. I mean, it really does. I feel very refreshed afterwards. And I also have walks, and my walks are my meditation. So there are different ways. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's wonderful. So communities like Tarot Love, obviously you also saw that posted there. Do you recommend any channels for us to watch here? Any art channels for us beginners?
Well, actually, this is a non-art channel, but
okay,
I can't believe I haven't come across it yet, because these guys have 7 million subscribers.
Oh my Lord.
And I love they have, it's called Yes Theory.
Yes Theory?
Yes Theory.
Okay.
And they, their model, their key, what they have on their, clothing, I can't think of their attire, their clothing.
Their attire, yes.
Is seek discomfort. Seek discomfort. Because when you seek discomfort, that's when you grow the most and you expand your experience, right? Yeah. So I wrote that, and I have that on my work desk, because I am so uncomfortable at work all the time, because I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know this system. I'm like, seek discomfort. I'm in the right place. I'm on the right place.
You are. It's kind of the same way when you work with the shadow. It's not comfortable. You know your own weaknesses and stuff, but you want to dig further and find out what you can do about it. Who needs to have it? And of course, there's some things that are shadow that are really good that you just push down because you don't really bring it out in yourself.
Yeah, and these guys, they overcome their fears. They are skydiving, or this one was, there was a, I don't know how I can do this on, okay, so a place, this is land. I'm like, okay, this is land. And in between my fingers, they created a net. So they slept on this triangle piece. So they had to cross over this, drop. I don't know where it was. I can't remember, but they slept out there. And this one guy was terrified.
I would have been too. Yeah.
Terrified of heights.
Yep.
And, he talked, he got support from his friends, and there's of course they did it with someone who is known for doing this kind of stuff, and tightrope, doing tightropes, like that. Yeah. So he was guided through working, think about the other side of your fear. When you have this fear, but think of how you will feel when you've overcome it. And so for me, it's I don't really have a desire to do that, because I think my fear is too great for that. But there are other baby steps. There are other things, coming on and talking to you, and not that the fear of mine, but that could be for someone. And maybe, that's your first step to say yes and seek that discomfort. So
that's right. That's right. And there have been some people who probably wouldn't have come on and talked to me 2 or 3 years ago because of that.
Yeah. And that's why I thought, I don't know, for one, it's to seek discomfort, and two, that it's not as scary as one might think, and that you have important things to say. You mean, you as a subscriber, we all have experiences, and maybe you don't think your experience is worth telling, but I can assure you that there is something that another person or many people will find hopeful or can relate to.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And that's beautiful. When you're talking about that particular scenario with the net and everything, did you watch, I think it's Carl Walenda, one of the flying Walendas. Did you see him walk across the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't know if I wanted to watch it because there was no net. And I was going to watch a man die basically, or make it over to the other side. And he had on a pair of jeans. I mean, I wouldn't have worn jeans that were like dragging. Remember that? And he made it and everything was great. But all that for me to watch live.
Did you do the Twin Towers? I remember someone doing the Twin Towers.
Oh, he made the Walenda family has done a lot of those. I don't know if it was them or not, but the grandfather died doing a stunt, I think in Spain or something in the 50s or 60s. I don't know, but
it's funny. I have challenged myself through the years. Like I was on my brother, there's a music fest near the city that I live, and he say, "Oh, I really want to go on the Ferris wheel." It's like really tall. Yeah. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Really?
I was petrified.
Oh, sure.
So I get in and get on the seat, and we go up, and I'm like, oh. He's like, "Are you okay?" Yes. Why did you say you do this? I'm like, because you really wanted to do it.
Right.
And I have
willing to take and that is with everything in life. You were willing to take a risk. You were willing to take a chance. And, life is all full of risk and all full of taking chances.
What I came to is like, if this is the way I'm supposed to die, I can't change it. Like,
that's it. Yeah.
So then I was able to relax a little bit more. Not completely, but I'm like, if this is the way I'm supposed to die, I don't want to die this way.
I've said that to my daughter more times than not. She'll say, "Mom, like I live in this, my husband's works away. And so I live in this, in the country. Mom, don't you think that people could break in?" And I said, "Well, that's the way I'm supposed to die. I guess that, then it will. But I don't sit around worrying about it. I just can't do that. Life's too short." Yeah.
I have like felt plane crashes. Wow. And I see them. And so when I'm flying, I'm like, okay, well, this is the way I'm meant to die.
Don't keep saying that, though. This is the way to live, isn't it? It's wonderful.
I choose to live, and I'm not going to live in the fear of something that probably
may not happen. Right. And there's a very big difference with that and being careful, for instance, by taking precautions when we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's just something very different than that. Yeah.
I just choose not to get that sick.
That's right. No, I'd rather, my husband just got the booster and his arm, is going to fall off, but I'm getting mine Monday, but I'll take it. For me.
I'll take it too. I will. It's not comfortable. It was very painful for me, but
there are worse things like ventilators. I have a ventilator.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have that pain for, I don't know, a couple hours than having that's not comfortable.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's been really wonderful talking with you, Tracy. Boy, thank you for coming on, because you're right. Everybody has something to say, and everybody should have their voice be heard. And I really enjoyed learning about your life and what you do. And I'm going like this because 2022 is a 6 year in numerology, and that's supposed to be rather good. So let's just hope that, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Yeah.
I hope so too. I feel like it will be. It's 2021 has been good for me, has been work, but I'm okay with it. So yeah, it was such a pleasure speaking with you as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody. I didn't mean to ignore you in the chat, but as you can see, we had some things to say, and thank you for coming by to listen as well. Love you guys. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. Bye,
Have a good one, everybody.